How are you?
That's a perfect question because you know what the answer is going to be.
Well, they say never ask the question that you don't already know the answer to.
And we want to add to that, and that you know the answer is going to be uplifting when you hear it. We're terrible. You hear that? Don't go looking for trouble. Look for things that feel good. Yeah.
So, I want to know what it is that I want.
That's a better question than you might know, because that's the whole point of the sifting and the sorting. Because coming to the question is necessary before the answer can begin taking form. So it's so important to identify what it is that you want to focus upon now. Once you ask, it is always given. So do you not know because you just got here today? Do you not know because you've tried and it hasn't come and now you're tired of wanting those things? Have you been emotionally vacant so you don't know what pleases you?
No, I find myself constantly going from one thing to the next. You know, I'm a retired police officer, now I'm a real estate agent, I do stand-up comedy, I'm into acting, and I've always been like that. I've just always moved on from one thing to the next, because as soon as I either feel like I conquered it or I got bored with it, it was time to find something else.
So is it really a matter of conquering it, or does it peter out and cease giving you what you want?
It's more like petering out and getting bored with it.
So what that's about is contradictory thought. Because, you see, when we talk about law of attraction, what we're really talking about is momentum. Because when you focus without contradiction, another thought joins it, and another, and another, and another. And before long, it's very exciting and also very productive, because it brings so much power and timing and others along with it. But if you want something but you talk against it, so that you summon the energy but you don't let it in, and you summon it and don't let it in, then after a while you can produce in a sort of human way, in a sort of normal way. We don't mean to be disrespectful, but in relationship to the way you could create by utilizing energy, your action way is very mediocre. And so you just don't have much power through your action and through your words. You've got to let in this source energy. It's supernatural energy, this hyper powerful energy. And if you're wanting it but, and wanting it but, and wanting it but, so that you never break through into that higher vibration, then you might as well just flip a coin. Well, that's not too much fun. I'll try that, and I'll try that, and then I'll try that. But within everything that you received an impulse about, there was something very strong within you. Why do you think that you wanted to be a policeman?
I don't know. I remember just being, as a kid, about 8 years old, saying I was going to be a police officer.
But try to think about it a little bit. Why?
I don't know. I was a volunteer fireman. I worked for New York City EMS, and from EMS, I loved that job so much that I thought the police department would be
What
even
did you
more
love
fun.
about that job so much?
About EMS?
Yeah.
It was just the most satisfying job I ever had.
Because?
The helping people, and I was very good at being an EMT. I was...
So you like to be of value to others. And you said the key word that we intend to throw back at you all day long, satisfying. So that means that through all that you've lived, the desire to be of value and the desire to uplift and help others is a very strong component that's in your vibrational world. In that world that in part you set into motion before you even came into this body, and that even when you were 8 years old, you started thinking about, you see. And so to be of value to others, that was really an important thing. So now, what do all of the things that you mentioned to us that you've been doing, what do all of them have in common? They're all about that, aren't they? Why do you want to be a stand-up comic?
Because it makes people happy.
What else did you say you've done?
I'm a real estate agent.
Why do you want to do that?
That I don't know.
It's not fun for you. We want to give you something here. that is going to explain to you in a better way than you've ever heard it before. So we're talking about step 1, you get that, ask. Step 2, source answers it. Step 3, you got to be in the receptive mode. But the step 2 is what we want to focus on right here, because source is answering through the path of least resistance in lots of different ways. And a very common thing is that your inner being, who's in collusion with other inner beings, often inspires one of you to be present, to be of value to someone else. So you get to be part of the step 2 process for someone else. Isn't that logical? There's not writing on the wall. When source answers, how do you think source answers? Source answers through offering vibrations to receivers who then are in a position that they can follow the impulse of that which they've received and offer it in a see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it way. So you have so often been in the receiving mode and felt the inspiration to be the step 2 part of the equation for someone who was asking but not really letting it in, and there you are helping them to let it in. You sort of kind of get that? That's what being in the receiving mode is all about. So when you say, what was your initial question to us?
I want to know what I want.
Well, we think that more accurate words might be, I want to know what I should do in order to satisfy what I want. But we think you know what you want. You want to feel good. You want others to too. You want to be of value. You want to feel good. You want to feel inspired. You want to feel elated. You want to feel focused. You want to feel interested. You know what you want. Your question isn't, I don't know what I want. Your question is, I don't know how to get there. And that is the best question that anybody could put into the platform that we're having here today, because that's what we want to talk about too. How do you know what is the right direction to go for what you want? Esther thought that to find a pen that was lost, she should just spend days and days and days turning upside down everything that it could possibly be in. So much effort, so much futile effort, so much action effort that didn't get her the results that she wanted. But when she accepted that it was lost and she stopped worrying about it and stopped talking about it and stopped apologizing to herself and others for losing it and just let it go, then she was guided to find it, you see. And this is what we want you to hear. You can't walk around saying, I don't know what I want to do, or I've been doing a whole lot of things. And when you beat up on yourself like you just did, sort of implying that you don't follow through, that you don't finish, that you just move from thing to thing to thing to thing, that isn't an accurate depiction of you either. So, how do you know? This is so important, and it's perhaps the biggest question that we hear from humanity on a regular basis. So, I get an impulse to do something. I decided that I'd be a EMS officer, and then I decided I would be a police officer, and then I decided that I would be what was next?
Real estate agent.
That was what was next. And then I decided that I would be, then I decided, and I must not be making good decisions, because none of it really stuck and none of it stayed a lifetime fulfilling sort of experience. And we want to say, in answer to the question, how do I know if my impulse is a good one? Isn't that something you're asking yourself all the time? How do I know? I decided to do this and it didn't work out. And so I decided to do this and it didn't work out. And we say, first of all, anything could work out if you would stay with it long enough, because momentum will cause that to happen. And it's you working against it and deciding that it isn't working out that shuts it all down and doesn't let it work out. And that's usually what makes you decide that you're going to go someplace else. So here's the piece we want you to hear. This is the answer nearly to every question that you have. And it certainly is the answer to this question. If you can accept with us that since you are alive in your body and you are a thinking mechanism and you are a vibrational being, then at every waking moment you are in the receiving mode of something, because you can't turn your receiver off even when you're really drunk. You can't turn your receiver off, so you are always receiving. You're always picking up signals. The question that you want to ask is, am I receiving the signal from my inner being, who we described in great detail earlier just now? Am I in the receiving mode of that? Or am I in the receiving mode of some momentum of something that's going on planet Earth that I've been involved in? Am I in the receiving mode of CNN? Am I in the receiving mode of whatever's going on in my Facebook feed? What constitutes my receiving mode? And what it is what your beliefs are, which is what you've been thinking about, what you are thinking about. And what you are thinking about is really a lot like what you have been thinking about, because momentum won't let you let go of those thoughts easily. In other words, if you say, all right, I'm not going to think about that anymore, you're thinking about it right now. You're thinking about what you're not going to think about right there while you're proclaiming that you're not ever going to think about it again. And as you tell others, I'm not going to think about it, now they're thinking about it, now you're talking about it, now you're thinking about it more, and now you're thinking about what they're thinking about what you're thinking about, and you just can't break that cycle as long as you are focused and awake and your mind is active. So there are some options. Lobotomy. That'll slow your thinking way down. It'll almost take the past entirely from your experience. But it makes the present really dim too. So we don't recommend that one. The other option, and the one that we really recommend, is to figure out how to be effective at meditation. And meditation is so simple. It just means quiet your mind. So first, you want to do it when it's the easiest to do it. That's first thing in the morning, after sleeping. And next, don't try to do it for a long time, because you will just cause frustration, because life keeps coming to you. And if life's coming to you, you'll get agitated and you won't allow yourself the time to do it. But if you will sit for 15 or 20 minutes and focus upon something that isn't interesting, like hear that sound in the room, that'd be a really good thing to focus on. Because it's not interesting. You're not thinking, I've heard better sounds. You're not thinking, and exactly what does that mean? You're not fighting with it. It's not interesting. But you could focus on it. Try. So if you will decide to let something like that, could be a dripping faucet, could be a sound that you're playing. Steady sounds are best. Esther listens usually for an air conditioner, something like that, or something that doesn't waver too much, something that's not very interesting. So as you focus upon that, it is our promise to you that on the first or second or third day, usually, you will find a quieted mind. And how do you know it? Because you'll feel different in your body. You'll feel a detachment, because your mind is not now perceiving through you. Your mind is perceiving through the mind of your inner being. Your mind is not thinking about you. You'll feel comfortable in your body, even unaware of your body, even not be able to tell your nose from your foot. Now, don't work hard at this. Don't say, oh, I can still feel my fingers. Don't analyze it. Focus on the sound. But in a little while, you will become detached. And when you do that, it's such a wonderful thing. When you just release, even if you sit for 20 minutes and you don't accomplish that feeling until 18 minutes in, doesn't matter. Once you find that feeling of detachment, where you have released your attention to active thoughts, those thoughts or beliefs within you will change. They will soften. Beliefs that are working against you will change. Now, hear this. We have not said this to anyone before. Thoughts that are working for you, beliefs that you hold that are beneficial to you, will not change. Why? Because you've quieted your active mind, but you will never quiet the mind of your inner being, who knows all things that are good for you, who knows all things that you've asked for, who knows all that you are wanting. So when you quiet your mind, what happens? That mind becomes dominant within you. And now, an interesting thing will happen to you. You'll receive a thought. And that's how you know that it's a worthwhile thought to focus on. Because it came from Source. Source who knows everything you want. Source who knows everything you are. Source that knows the path of least resistance from where you are to everything that you want.